Today's video is brought to you by Fume. Did you know that plastic can be converted into vanilla flavoring, or that a diabetic person's urine can be used to make whiskey? This is why I love my job. The bizarre facts I get to tell you about are amazing. Even if science wasn't your favorite subject in school, we might have 1 or 25 science facts on hand to change your mind. After all, scientists are learning new things every day, and something we don't know about today could be blowing your mind tomorrow. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 of the most bizarre facts about science. 25. The human stomach can dissolve razor blades. If you ever find yourself swallowing a razor blade, we're here to tell you that there's no need to worry. There's probably a few reasons to worry. The body of a human being is far more competent than you may believe. Acids get rated on a scale from 0 to 14. The more potent the acid, the lower its pH level. Our stomach acid typically ranges anywhere between 1 and 2, meaning it's incredibly powerful. In one study, scientists dumped a razor in stomach acid and waited. The razor was dissolved within 2 hours. That means you can swallow those watermelon seeds without worrying about something growing in your stomach. I mean, if stomach acids can dissolve razor blades, seeds will never survive. 24. A laser beam can get trapped in water. Yeah, really. Look up a few experiments online if you don't believe me. It's all due to a spectacle known as total internal reflection. This phenomenon takes place when light particles travel through a material of specific density and end up at a boundary where the density is a bit less. When it comes to laser beams in water, you should remember that water is heavier than light. That means that the laser beam enters the water and is immediately slowed down by the heavier water particles. Therefore, the laser beam literally becomes trapped in the water. Trust me, it's there? Oh, this is probably not showing up well. And you thought science wasn't cool. 23. Animals use Earth's magnetic field for navigation. Earth's magnetic field has long been a champion for the life this planet harbors. Formed by the planet's rotation, it responds to the electrical currents created by the Earth's core. But did you know that it isn't just humans using the planet's magnetic field to navigate? The theory that migratory animals use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate was first proposed by scientists in the 1960s, but it was viewed with skepticism because it couldn't be proved. It was only recently discovered that migratory animals house magnetite cells in their bodies, the same material used by our ancestors to make compasses. Now we know that birds migrate using the polarity of north and south, only they don't need a little gauge with directions on it to do so. Other creatures, turtles for example, identify specific areas based on their magnetic signatures in order to locate them in the future. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. And I'm not talking about 25 crazy ways people have broken bad habits, though maybe. Anyway, I'm talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem differently. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong, so instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses air, and instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all-natural, delicious flavors. You get it? Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. It fills the void in a natural, guilt-free way. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing while breaking your habit, just like Linkin Park said. I personally wasn't sure what to expect. When I first heard about Fume, I honestly told the team, wait, are we promoting vaping? That sounds like a bad idea. But then I looked more into it and found that I was completely wrong. It's the exact opposite. Fume helps people stop their bad habits. And you know what? Stopping is something everyone puts off because it's hard. But switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and has thousands of success stories. And there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/list or scan the QR code and use code LIST to get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. Now, I've tried all their flavors thanks to the Journey Pack, and my personal favorite has got to be orange vanilla. It's just fresh and more flavorful than I thought it'd be. And as someone with ADHD, my favorite part is that this can also double as a fidget toy. And you know, I was super excited to reveal my discovery. Like, oh my god, this is so fidgeting and so great. Thinking that I had just discovered it until I realized that they made it like this on purpose with fidgeting in mind. But the magnets and the clicks are super satisfying. And look at just how beautiful this wood is. See, mine here is the prominent version, but they just released the Solano on November 6th with a premium walnut barrel and an onyx black coated mouthpiece. And you can upgrade your Journey Pack to the Solano and still get 10% off. That's tryfum.com and use the code LIST to save an additional 10% off on your order today. 22. Soil is full of life. You may not realize it, but soil, especially healthy soil, is practically alive. It's made up of millions of species and billions of organisms which all come together to create the diverse and complex blend of microscopic and macroscopic life that exists as the most influential concentration of biomass anywhere on our planet. To put this into perspective, the number of living organisms in a single teaspoon of soil exceeds the actual number of humans currently alive on Earth, which is about 8 billion right now. God, I remember when that hit 6. 21. Rats laugh when they're tickled. Why do I feel like laughing just by reading that sentence? It must be because I'm incredibly ticklish, but this has given me a whole new perspective on rats. Researchers have taken careful notes about the pleasure rats seem to take when it comes to playing with humans, like running to a human hand to engage in chasing games that end up with their bellies being tickled. In fact, they now believe the high-pitched sounds and excited jumping, the latter known as Freudensprünge, a delightful word that you can go your entire life without hearing, and then once you do, you have no idea how you lived without it, is how they express laughter and their pleasure with a loving attention. 20. Bananas are radioactive. I've heard this fact before, but I didn't really believe it. Bananas are somewhat radioactive because they are high in potassium, and potassium-40, which is radioactive, is one of its natural isotopes. However, before you start burying your bananas in lead-lined coffins, you should know that you'd have to eat about 5 million of them to get anything resembling radiation sickness. And by then, it would all be for naught because you might have turned yourself into a banana. 19. You can't burp in space. The daily life of an astronaut on the International Space Station doesn't often cross our minds. Literally miles away from anything or anyone, their lives are seldom sufficiently documented. However, if you get curious one day, you can find hundreds of little problems these guys have had to deal with on a daily basis. One inconvenience is the fact that you can't burp in space. It's true. You see, on Earth, gravity moves all the solids and liquids in your stomach to the bottom, while the gases are free to move to the top and escape, so to speak. However, with gravity absent in space, gases, liquids, and solids remain mixed. As such, should you burp in space, it won't just be a funky smell leaving your mouth. 18. Plastic can be converted to vanilla flavoring. Before you enjoy that vanilla cupcake too much, ask yourself, where did this vanilla flavoring come from? There's a lot of money to be made in the upcycling business. Plastics currently lose over 95% of their value after a single use. As such, researchers have started looking at ways to make upcycling more lucrative, and discovered that a specific type of bacteria can convert terephthalic acid, TA, into vanillin. Vanillin is widely employed in the food and cosmetics industry, and in cleaning products, pharmaceuticals, and herbicides. Global demand is increasing, and reached 37,000 metric tons in 2018, far exceeding the demand for natural vanilla beans. At present, around 85% of vanillin is produced artificially from chemicals derived from fossil fuels. 17. Men are more likely to be colorblind. It's a truly bizarre but proven fact. Men are more likely to be colorblind than women. This is because colorblindness is caused by genes on the X chromosome. And I know what you're thinking. Women have 2, so they should have the greater numbers, right? Well, unfortunately, since us men only have 1, We only need one defective chromosome to be colorblind. My dad was actually colorblind. And left-handed. Rest in peace, Dad. I miss you. 16. Bats are immune against most viruses. And that includes the coronaviruses. Bats can contract and transmit viruses, but based on the European Commission's funded studies, bats also have an arsenal of antiviral genes that keep them safe. Rabies is the exception. However, while rabies can make bats sick, it rarely kills them. Now, before you start hating bats, try to see them as rats with wings. That probably won't help some people. And then remember how much they like playing with us and getting their bellies tickled. I promise, it helps. They're like sky puppies. When I was in Singapore, there was a bat and he was this close to me hanging upside down. We just had little conversations. Lovely creatures. I love bats. I think they're fantastic. They're adorable. 15. Humans have the capacity to produce venom. If you've been secretly waiting to develop secret powers X-Men style, then I've got good news. While we may not have the ability to be venomous right now, we will very likely evolve to be venomous in the future. Scientists have closed a long open door by linking early salivary glands to the tissues that eventually evolved into venom glands in several species. Because saliva is the common thread, anyone with salivary glands, from mice to humans, could eventually develop venom. The missing piece is not in genes or mechanisms, but in the contents of what the glands release, special proteins. If that's at number 15, I bet you're wondering what we have at number 1 on today's list, so stick around. I promise you, it's gonna be worth it. 14. Babies have almost 100 more bones than adults. Most parents will be aware of this fact, but for those of us who haven't taken the stroll towards parenthood yet, this might come as a surprise. A baby's body has 300 bones in it, compared to the 206 human adults have. Babies need to be more flexible during birth. As such, most of their extra bones will fuse or grow together by the time they're around 3. It's also interesting to note that some of a baby's bones are made entirely from cartilage, while others are only partly made up of cartilage. 13. Our bodies glow. We just can't see it. In 2009, Masaki Kobayashi, a scientist at Japan's Tohoku Institute of Technology, decided to look into human bioluminescence. He enlisted the help of 5 people and took pictures of their bodies for 20 minutes every 3 hours for 3 consecutive days. The images were captured using cameras that were extremely sensitive to light. The results revealed that certain parts of the people, such as their necks and heads, displayed light continuously, reaching their brightest point around 4 o'clock every afternoon. Scientists believe our bioluminescence is created through the interactions of molecules called fluorophores. After interacting with the electrons, our cells release via cellular respiration. Unfortunately, we can't see it, as it's about 1,000 times too weak for our eyes to pick up. 12. Komodo dragons have evolved to reproduce parthenogenetically. Nature is incredible. If you've never heard of parthenogenesis, let me remind you of Jeff Goldblum's words in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. Parthenogenesis is the type of reproduction that takes place when a female produces offspring without a male's help. One animal that uses this method in the wild is the Komodo dragon. Since they're used to an isolated lifestyle and can get very violent when approached, they've evolved to reproduce both parthenogenetically and sexually. You know, depending on their mood. 11. Peanuts and explosives. Did you know that if processed into glycol, peanut oil can be used as a key ingredient in nitroglycerin, the explosive secret inside dynamite? It's true, but the experts advise against using it, as it's pretty labor intensive. Glad that's the only reason they advise against it. So just how many peanuts do you need to make 1 pound of dynamite? Well, apparently that's a closely guarded secret. Nuts. 10. Chitons have metal teeth. The animal kingdom and its seemingly intense standards of evolution amaze me. From cockroaches that can survive nuclear blast to pufferfish utilizing a neurotoxin as a defense mechanism, nature often over-delivers in its presentation. The chiton, a marine mollusk that inhabits the Gulf of Mexico, has similarly outdone itself in the evolution game by figuring out how to grow metal teeth. Magnetite teeth to be exact. A magnetic material composed of iron oxide. Thus far, this has been the hardest material to be produced by any organism. Perhaps we'll be able to copy nature at some point in the future by synthesizing hard materials into laboratories using the proteins that come from chitin's teeth. For now, though, we can only wonder why a mollusk in the Gulf of Mexico would need metal teeth. 9. A grasshopper's ears are on its belly. Just when you think things couldn't get any weirder, we drop this bombshell on you. A grasshopper's auditory organs can be found in a particularly weird area: its belly. Membranes that reverberate in response to sound waves can be found on each side of a grasshopper's first abdominal segment, tucked away safely under its wings. This incredible eardrum, known as a tympanum, allows a grasshopper to hear the melodies of its fellow grasshoppers, even if it doesn't really pick up on the pitch of a song that well. 8. The corpse flower stench has a purpose. The corpse flower is famous for its size. These weird plants can grow up to 8 feet tall. For reference, I'm 5'10", so here? However, there's another not so pleasant fact about this massive plant. It has a particularly horrible odor. It smells just like rotting flesh, hence the name corpse plant. While many believe this repulsive feature is designed to detract prey, it's actually designed to attract pollinators. Because dung beetles and flesh flies enjoy a fresh corpse, this is an inviting pit stop. This bizarre science fact gets even stranger because this plant can simulate a human body by heating its core to 98 degrees Fahrenheit. This process is known as thermogenesis, and it only serves to attract more insects. I wonder how it compares to a durian. I've smelled a durian. It's not great. I've yet to smell a corpse plant. 7. A Lone Star tick bite can make you allergic to red meat. You know what? Since we've already ruined vanilla cupcakes for you, I thought we'd go to the extra mile and warn you against the Lone Star tick. You see, if one of these horrible parasites bites you, you could develop an allergy to red meat, including pork and beef. This allergy is caused by a type of carbohydrate known as alpha-gal, and is best diagnosed through a blood test. 6. A teaspoon of a neutron star would weigh billions of tons on Earth. A neutron star is what remains if a massive star larger than 10 suns runs out of fuel. It would have collapsed, exploded, and collapsed again. Under the pressure of the collapse, its protons and electrons have fused to form neutrons, which ensures that it cannot collapse again. The star obviously loses a lot of weight in the process and ends up being only about 1.5 times the mass of the sun. Still, all of that matter has been condensed to a size of about 10 miles. A typical star of that magnitude would span more than 1 million miles. To put this into perspective, look at it like this. A tablespoon of the sun would weigh around 5 pounds, or 2 kilograms, depending on where you scooped it, about the weight of an old laptop. However, a single teaspoon of a neutron star will weigh more than 1 billion tons, or 900 billion kilograms. That's more than Mount Everest's weight. So while you can lift a spoonful of sun, it would never be possible with a spoonful of neutron stars. Ow. Delicious neutron stars. 5. A diabetic person's urine could be used to make whiskey. That's how much sugar it contains. And while I would have loved to tell you that it's only in theory, I'd be lying. It's already been done by a man called James Gilpin. He gets his source material from elderly volunteers, including his grandmother, and purifies it just like you'd purify water, by removing the sugar molecules and adding it to the mash stock to expedite fermentation. Traditionally, the sugar used would be made from the starches in the mash. Once metabolized into an uncolored alcohol spirit, whiskey blends are added to provide color, flavor, and viscosity, and the end result is bottled with the contributor's name and age. 79-year-old Martha, anyone? Anyone? No? Alright. 4. Teeth are not bones. Our teeth and bones may be white, hard, and full of calcium, but the similarities end there. For one, teeth only possess phosphorus, calcium, and other minerals, whereas bones contain phosphorus, calcium, and sodium, but mainly collagen. Plus, bones are not nearly as tough as teeth. However, bones do one-up teeth in the regenerative department, as teeth can't heal themselves when they break or fracture, and can't produce red blood cells. Finally, our bones are hidden away underneath muscle, flesh, and skin, while our teeth are out in the open and displayed. Bones not so much. So while we may have to whiten our teeth, at least we don't have to worry about our bones turning yellow. Except when they meet oxygen, though hopefully our bones won't be outside our bodies for extended periods of time anytime soon. Although I'm sure this news will sadden Titus Andromedon. Teeth are outside bones. 3. Cranberries can bounce like rubber balls. Cranberries are incredibly good for you. Not only are they full of antioxidants, but they can also stop cavities, tooth decay, and gum disease. They even contain compounds called proanthocyanidins, which many believe could lower our chances of getting cancer. However, for all of their health benefits, their most exciting ability must be that they can bounce. Really bounce. If you drop a fresh cranberry, it'll bounce just like a rubber ball. Old or damaged berries don't bounce. This bouncing ability is actually tested at the sorting mills before they can pass the quality test. 2. A single bolt of lightning can toast 100,000 pieces of bread. We thought we'd add another bizarre yet fun fact for you here at number 2. Did you know that 5 billion joules of energy are generated every time a lightning bolt hits the earth? When we started playing around with the math, that means that your run-of-the-mill everyday toaster will be able to run for a total of 84,000 minutes on an energy of a single strike. If it's a 2-slicer, that boils down to just enough time to toast 100,000 muffins, bagels, Pop-Tarts, or slices of bread until it reaches the perfect level of crunchiness to go with your favorite morning drink. I don't recommend running outside during a lightning storm to try to toast your bread though. Please don't do that. 1. Humans lose their sense of smell while sleeping. Did you know your nose could pick up over 1 trillion distinct scents? Funnily enough, one of the most pleasant scents, according to our noses anyway, is the smell of vanilla, or should I say recycled plastic. During recent studies, scientists discovered that our sense of smell is at its strongest at the end of the day and at its weakest during the night and into the early morning hours. They now believe that this reduction in our smell sensitivity throughout the night might explain why odors don't generally wake people up from their sleep. So, what's your favorite science fact? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out our social medias, including my personal ones, links in the description. And if you enjoyed this list, you have to watch the list we did on strange science experiments that actually happened, where I discuss how mice and milkshakes helped scientists understand autism and revealed how the world figured out that spiders didn't like the taste of urine. I'm not kidding. Just click on the link here. What are you waiting for? I'll meet you there, I promise. I'll be there. Just click it. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I am. I'm going to that video with you. Let's go.